Hi, today I wanted to talk about a personal experience in our organization at EvoStream around personnel changes and what to do when you encounter unexpected personnel changes in your workforce. Recently, we had an experience where one of our project managers ended up in the hospital and for a prolonged period of time. And at the same time, I had an individual that was moving on to a new chapter in their career and leaving the organization. So what do you do in that situation when you're a small business and you don't have a ton of additional resources to overlap different job roles? The first thing you have to do, and this happens before you actually run into this obstacle, is documentation is really important in process, because when you're kind of lost, you really want to have the roadmap or the breadcrumbs to go back to and default to when not everyone's comfortable in the situation that they find themselves in. I personally don't know every single tactical aspect of the individuals who work for me's jobs, and that can be disorienting, right? But what I try to do is encourage everyone to stick to process, document everything they do, so that if somebody else has to do their job, they can kind of figure out where the bodies are buried. The second thing that I always remind myself to do is not panic, right? You don't have to rush to hire somebody. Sometimes what you need to do is just take a step back and use that as an opportunity to see if there's room for improvement in the organization, right? So, always make sure that you don't panic and rush to a decision when you find yourself with a gap in your personnel or workforce. The next thing that I try to do is triage. At some point you do have to pick up the pieces and start figuring out how to rebuild that puzzle. So I normally ask for help from other folks in my organization or even outside the organization, ask for advice, guidance, and then try to see if we can figure out all the different tasks and projects that person was working on and how can we backfill them, or at least temporarily make sure that nothing falls between the cracks. The last thing is obviously you have to hire someone, right? So sometimes what folks do is they say, this is a very nuanced position. This individual is doing something so specific, it's going to be really difficult to replace them. And you're really looking for a needle in a haystack then when you go to the job market. What I would recommend, just based on my experience, is try to hire for agility and resourcefulness. A lot of times, you have individuals that are in a very specific job role, especially in our business. It can become very nuanced. And you get tunnel vision, right? You become very myopic in how you look for the next candidate. And what I found is that, if you can find somebody that has a great attitude, has a broad skill set, and is really creative and resourceful, those folks can very easily adapt to a role that is well documented, like we talked about before. So again, if you find yourself in this situation, and I have recently, don't panic, hire for resourcefulness. Always make sure that you pull in other individuals and experts that are around you and explain the situation. And then, of course, you're going to need to do a little bit of triage. You're going to need to work a little late, pick up the pieces, figure out how you can overcome temporarily the gap in your organization. And the best way to do that sometimes is just dive in, get involved, work those extra hours, like I said, and know that it's temporary. So hopefully this is helpful. Any questions, leave comments. Always love to answer those in the LinkedIn. And you can always direct message me as well. Thanks.